Some tracks in F1 are so predictable that once you grab pole position in qualifying and everything goes smoothly, you're almost guaranteed to win on Sunday. These predictable circuits turn race day into a bit of a snooze fest and suck the excitement right out of the sport. And if that's not bad enough, there are tracks even the drivers openly criticise.
Definitely one of the dullest of races I think I've been in.
Yet we keep seeing them on the calendar every single year. So why does F1 insist on sticking with these boring tracks? The reasons might surprise you, and not necessarily in a good way. Let's get started. For the average fan, Formula 1 is all about breathtaking overtakes, fierce rivalries, and jaw-dropping drives that keep us glued to the screen. But for those running the show, that's just one part of the bigger picture. To them, Formula 1 isn't just about racing, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. And that's why financial factors play a huge role in why F1 continues to return to tracks that don't always deliver the excitement we crave. Hosting a Formula 1 race is incredibly expensive. Circuits must pay hefty fees just for the privilege of holding a Grand Prix, with fees ranging from $15 million to an eye-watering $60 million per year. For instance, Saudi Arabia reportedly pays around $55 million annually to host its race. And that's just the beginning. Venues also have to cover the costs of track maintenance, safety measures, staffing, and ensuring their facilities meet F1's high standards. Some tracks, especially those backed by wealthy governments or big corporations, can easily afford these steep fees. Venues like Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia, bolstered by oil wealth, lock in their spots on the F1 calendar. These tracks might not always deliver thrilling races, but they offer financial packages that are hard to refuse. Take the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku, for example. Despite criticism over its lack of overtaking opportunities, it remains on the calendar largely due to its lucrative contract. On the flip side, historic tracks that often deliver better racing sometimes struggle financially. Circuits like Germany's Hockenheim Ring, known for producing thrilling races, have fallen off the calendar because they couldn't afford the rising hosting fees. These traditional venues typically rely on ticket sales and local government support, which isn't always enough to compete with the wealthier alternatives. Is F1 entirely to blame? Not really. They need to generate revenue to keep the sport running and growing. So sometimes this means financial priorities outweigh racing quality. For instance, the Miami Grand Prix, despite its somewhat underwhelming track layout, joined the calendar because it tapped into a valuable new market and brought substantial financial backing. While financial factors are a big reason F1 keeps returning to some of the less exciting tracks, it's far from the only one. There are other key factors that play an even bigger role. But before diving into that, there's a question we need to answer. Why do these countries go all out, spending millions just to host an F1 race? Well, the answer lies in the political significance of Formula 1. As the world's most prestigious motorsport, F1 has become an enticing tool for nations eager to reshape their global image, strengthen diplomatic ties, and present themselves as modern, forward-thinking countries. Hosting an F1 race is no longer just about motorsport, it's a political and economic strategy. Take Saudi Arabia's entry into the F1 calendar. Behind the glittering lights of the Jeddah Corniche circuit lies a carefully orchestrated plan. The Saudi government isn't just in it for the sport. They see F1 as a key part of their vision to diversify the economy beyond oil and position the kingdom as a global tourism hub. By hosting a Grand Prix, Saudi Arabia is able to broadcast a new modern image to millions of viewers around the world, leveraging the sport as a massive public relations campaign. F1 gives them the perfect platform to showcase a more open, progressive side of the country, far from the oil-drenched image of the past. Political influence doesn't just stop at image building, it even extends to the structure of race contracts. When Bahrain first joined the F1 calendar, they secured an exclusivity agreement that prevented any other Middle Eastern nation from hosting a race, ensuring Bahrain's status as the region's motorsport hub. While this clause eventually dissolved as more nations like Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia joined the calendar, it reveals just how much power politics can wield in shaping F1's geography. But why would Formula 1 play along? Well, for F1, the financial and political ties often go hand in hand. As stated earlier, these politically motivated venues frequently offer some of the largest hosting fees, making it incredibly difficult for the sport to walk away, even when the racing itself isn't always thrilling. Moreover, the political influence extends beyond hosting fees. State-owned companies from these countries often become significant sponsors in the sport, strengthening the commercial ties between Formula One and the governments of these nations. A prime example is Aramco, Saudi Arabia's state oil giant, which has become a major F1 global partner. For traditional racing venues, this political dimension adds another challenging layer to their fight for survival on the F1 calendar. Historic tracks in countries that don't view F1 through a political lens often struggle to compete with nations willing to invest heavily in F1 for political gain. This creates a complex dynamic where racing heritage sometimes takes a backseat to political and diplomatic considerations. As new venues emerge and old ones fight to stay relevant, that's because of the political chess game behind the scenes, which determines not just where the next race will be held, but what message it sends to the world. So, are we suggesting that all the current F1 tracks are primarily chosen for political and financial reasons? Not at all. Some less thrilling circuits remain on the calendar due to their historical significance and the legacy they carry. Take Monaco for example. Despite its notoriously difficult overtaking opportunities and often predictable race outcomes, it remains the crown jewel of Formula One. Since 1929, this circuit has challenged the greatest drivers in history, its barrier-lined streets leaving no room for error. Here, legends were born, from Graham Hill, dubbed Mr. Monaco for his 5 victories, to Ayrton Senna's record-setting 6 wins. These hallowed streets have witnessed countless moments that define Formula One's soul, from rivalries that shaped eras to displays of skill that seemed to defy physics. This connection to the past creates an atmosphere that modern venues, despite their state-of-the-art facilities, simply cannot replicate. Silverstone, the circuit that hosted the very first Formula One World Championship race in 1950, tells a similar tale. However, the preservation of these historic venues isn't without its challenges. Modern Formula One demands extensive facilities, stringent safety standards, and certain track characteristics that favour overtaking. Historic circuits often struggle to meet these requirements while maintaining their unique character. Yet their presence on the calendar is vital. They provide a counterbalance to the newer, often more sterile tracks that prioritize safety and facilities over character and challenge. Another reason why F1 keeps racing on boring circuits is geographical diversity. F1 aims to have a global presence. Sometimes, less exciting tracks are kept to maintain representation in certain regions or countries. This quest for global reach sometimes means keeping races at circuits that might not deliver the most thrilling on-track action. Consider F1's presence in Asia. When the sport first expanded into China with the Shanghai International Circuit, the track's layout drew criticism for producing lackluster races. Yet F1 persisted, recognizing the immense importance of having a foothold in the world's most populous country. The Chinese Grand Prix became not just a race, but a gateway to a vast market of potential fans and sponsors. The story in the Middle East paints a similar picture. Bahrain, with its desert setting, joined the F1 calendar in 2004. The Sakir circuit, while not known for producing nail-biting races, represented F1's first venture into the region. Soon after, Abu Dhabi followed with the Yas Marina circuit. Despite criticism about the racing quality, these venues filled a crucial gap in F1's global coverage. They also conveniently solved the sport's desire for season opening and closing races in reliably dry, time zone-friendly locations. In the Americas, F1 faced a different challenge. After losing several traditional venues, the sport risked becoming too Eurocentric. The return to the United States became a priority, leading to the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. While the track itself has produced some good racing, F1's eagerness to expand further in the US market led to additions like the Miami International Autodrome. This track, despite its somewhat uninspiring layout, helped maintain F1's crucial presence in a key global market. The Russian Grand Prix at Sochi, before its cancellation, was another example of geographical strategy trumping racing quality. Built around the 2014 Winter Olympics Park, was widely regarded as one of the least exciting on the calendar. However, it represented F1's presence in the vast Russian market and served as a bridge between European races and the sport's Asian ventures. This global approach affects F1's scheduling too. Races are carefully arranged in geographical clusters to minimize logistic costs and carbon footprint. Sometimes this means keeping a less exciting track because it fits perfectly into a regional racing block. The Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku, despite its street circuit limitations, serves as a convenient bridge between European and Asian races. F1's global expansion has also led to the squeezing out of some traditional, more exciting European tracks. Classics like Germany's Hockenheim Ring have struggled to keep their place on the calendar as F1 prioritizes global reach over pure racing quality. Weather considerations play a part too. F1 needs venues where races can reliably take place during their allotted calendar slot. Some less exciting tracks benefit from predictable weather, allowing F1 to confidently schedule races during tricky seasonal transitions. This reliability can outweigh concerns about racing quality. The sport's leaders understand that to truly be a global championship, F1 must have a presence in every major region, even if it means enduring some less thrilling races along the way. The hope remains that as these venues mature and F1's car regulations evolve, the racing quality will improve, matching the sport's already impressive global reach. Sometimes, the race that matters most isn't the one on the track, but the greater race to bring the sport to fans in every corner of the globe. Now, as an F1 fan, you might be wondering, why do struggling teams continue to compete in Formula 1? Well, the answer isn't what you expect. Check out this video to find out.